Hi, welcome to Audiobook Academy. This is a self-paced audiobook. There's no need to keep an eye on things. Just pay attention. Thank you for taking the time to listen. This is a book summary of Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Have you ever been awestruck by the world's brightest and best and wondered how they managed to achieve such great success? Is this anything you have experienced? If so, then this is the book for you. Outliers is a narrative about achieving success, but with a unique twist in it. Not your standard self-made success story, but rather an in-depth, intellectual exploration of many of the circumstances and quirks that lead to a person's high-level achievement. When it comes to our idea of success, an outlier is someone who straddles the line between what's statistically probable and what's impossible. Outliers include people such as Bill Gates, the Beatles, and Robert Oppenheimer, to name a few. Bill Gates is a computer prodigy who co-founded Microsoft, and the Beatles are one of the most popular musical acts in history, having sold over 100 million albums worldwide. Robert Oppenheimer is a theoretical physicist who is well known throughout the world. Unfortunately, we have a tendency to place far too much emphasis on the characteristics of successful people while paying far too little attention to their backgrounds. For a little while, we'll consider the unseen circumstances that are beyond our control, and how they play an important role in the story of success, perhaps a lot more important than we might imagine. The idea of self-made success is also debunked by Gladwell. The author explains how elements such as one's cultural background, family, birth dates, and other distinctive experiences throughout one's upbringing all have an impact on one's chances of obtaining outlier success status in today's society. There is a problem with believing in your own success story. When it comes to the concept of the self-made individual, and the belief that natural talent, enthusiasm, and hard effort can lead to ultimate success, we as a culture have a tendency to believe them. Think about Jeb Bush, who ran for governor of Florida and lost to Rick Scott. A self-made man, he described himself as being. His campaign strategy was based on the notion that we, the developed world, have the ability to define our own destiny. There were two American presidents, a wealthy Wall Street banker, and a United States senator in his immediate family, which was not well reported. The success of an individual depends on a variety of things other than their ability and hard effort, the majority of which are outside their control. It comes down to the fact that success is rarely the consequence of a single individual's efforts. Let's take a quick look at some of the external circumstances that play a role in someone's ability to achieve the seemingly impossible. Our birthday is determined by the calendar month in which we were born. After studying young professional Canadian ice hockey players, psychologist Roger Barnsley made the following observations: an unusually high number of players are born in the first 3 months of the year, specifically, February and March. A disproportionate number of players are born in the month of January, and a disproportionate number of players are born in the month of February. In terms of their chances of success, what does this have to do with it? It becomes clearer when you look back at their school years that this is a valid connection. Compared to children born later in the year, children born earlier in the year appear to have an advantage. The gap in physical maturity between boys can be explained by a period of 12 months. An older child's physical appearance may be more mature, which may appeal to a coach who is looking for strong males to join the hockey team. The boys who are selected for the squad then receive the most attention, practice, and games, chances that younger boys may not have, and which can make a significant difference in their overall development and performance. Because of all the additional hours of games, practice, and general experience, the somewhat older youngster has a better chance of becoming an NBA player than the younger boy. This effect is referred to as a cumulative advantage, and it may be observed not only on professional sports rosters, but also on school test results. Higher levels of maturity are frequently associated with greater skill in the eyes of teachers. For example, according to a study of fourth-grade test scores, older children born in January performed significantly better on the tests than younger children born in December of the same calendar year. As a result, opportunities that present themselves to us early in life are critical to our future success. Children who are given early opportunities for success develop a self-fulfilling prophecy, and those who are given early opportunities for success gain an accumulative edge over their peers. Our ability to succeed can be influenced by our birth year as well as historic events. The mid-50s were the ideal period to be born and to rise to prominence in the high-tech industry. It is during this time period that a number of the most accomplished computer programmers were born. Between 1954 and 1956, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Bill Joy, co-founder of Sun Microsystems, were all born. They were at the perfect age to prepare for the personal computer revolution, which began in 1975 when they reached this sweet spot. Despite the fact that they were born late, They were fortunate enough to have had access to computers and hone their technological abilities while also being among the first to commercialize their ideas. Having a bit more experience in their lives and careers would have made them less likely to take large career risks if they had been a little older. So far, we've looked into the relationship between birth dates and our chances of achieving success in several fields of endeavor. However, there is another opportunistic component to consider, and that is the opportunity to put our skills to the test and become better at what we do. What is the 10,000 rule, and how does it apply to you? Researchers at Anders Ericsson's Institute for Expertise are looking at how long it takes us to become truly skilled at something. To achieve mastery, we must have practiced for at least 10,000 hours or apprenticed in a particular profession. This is true across a wide range of disciplines. Despite the fact that this is not a hard and fast rule, it is a useful statistic to illustrate that greatness necessitates a significant investment of time. Bill Gates began honing his computer talents when he was 13 years old, according to Wikipedia. In the years before founding Microsoft, he spent more than 10,000 hours honing his skills in the field of computer programming. To give you another example, consider the Beatles. In Germany, they were invited to perform at a strip club a few months before they became a worldwide sensation. Over the course of this period, they played 7 days a week, which allowed them to accumulate over 10,000 hours of collective playing time and to become proficient in their music. Beatles writer Philip Norman has stated that the group sounded like no one else by the time the group returned to England from Hamburg, Germany. The process of creating them. When it comes to success, the 10,000-hour rule shatters the idea of sudden success. That said, it takes more than just putting in the hours, it requires deliberate practice, along with the appropriate feedback and support. Practicing does not only require quantity, it also requires high-quality performance. Our practice improves when we are extremely focused and goal-driven, as well as when we receive ongoing feedback and support from our colleagues. Although not everyone has the opportunity to devote countless hours of purposeful practice, some people do. This implies having the opportunity to begin practicing at a young age, as well as having access to the appropriate atmosphere and support systems, to name a few things. It is considerably more likely to be successful for those who begin early and put in the necessary 10,000 hours of serious practice. Taking Mozart as an example, at the age of 5, he began producing music under the supervision of his father. In addition to having supportive parents, financial support provides access to great institutions and programs, which allow the opportunity to put in hours of focused practice. In Bill Gates' early education and university years, he was able to solidify his technological abilities and commitment. Due to his family's wealth, he was given the option to attend an elite private school where he would have access to computers. After that, he was given the opportunity to attend the University of Michigan, which was home to a world-renowned computer science center, which served as an additional source of inspiration for him as he continued to refine his skills. If you listen to all the discussion about achievement, you might conclude that intrinsic talent must play a critical role. Although it is possible that genius does not have as large a role as we would like to believe. With regard to genius, a phenomenon known as the threshold effect has been seen. IQ can be a valuable predictor of success, but only up to a point where it is around 120 points higher than the individual's actual intelligence. If you reach the age of 130 or higher, the importance of other elements such as upbringing and distinct ways of thinking increases. Two people with remarkable brilliance, Christopher Langdon and Robert Oppenheimer, who both ended up with dramatically different outcomes, ought to be studied in greater detail. A person's intelligence was measured in terms of IQ points. To put this in context, Einstein's age was 150. When compared to Oppenheimer, Langdon did not achieve the same level of success. Langdon may have been at a disadvantage because of circumstances surrounding his upbringing. It was not enough for Langdon to be brilliant to achieve success, and other variables, such as his upbringing and background, made it impossible for him to take advantage of his extraordinary intellectual abilities. Robert Oppenheimer, on the other hand, owes his achievement in large part to his early childhood. Born in New York City, Oppenheimer grew up in one of the city's wealthiest districts. With the help of his father, a famous businessman, and a scholarship from an elite school, Oppenheimer achieved success. This case demonstrates that genius is not the most crucial factor, or even the most important one, in determining a person's level of success in any endeavor. IQ tests, according to the theory, do not accurately predict whether or not a person would be successful in life. As Gladwell points out, practical intelligence is not adequately measured by IQ testing, despite the fact that it is a characteristic shared by outliers. Robert Sternberg, a psychologist, further elaborates on the concept of practical intelligence, explaining that it comprises understanding what to say when to say it, and knowing how to say it with optimum effect. According to Gladwell, this is knowledge that assists you in reading situations correctly, in order to obtain what you desire. The ability to think practically is not something we inherit, rather, it is a skill we acquire. Developing practical intelligence, the importance of parenting. Street smarts is another term for practical intelligence, which is often referred to as social-emotional intelligence. The children who learn to be aggressive and speak for themselves are more likely to achieve success than the children who lack this feature and struggle in social circumstances. While driving to the doctor, a little boy's mother might ask him to come up with a list of questions. When it comes to asking questions during his checkup, despite his young age, the youngster is unafraid and confident. This leads to him feeling more at ease communicating with people from an early age and learning how to speak effectively in order to obtain what he wants out of a scenario from that point forward. The lessons we learn from our parents, whether explicit or tacit, can either assist or impede our chances of achieving financial independence. Also important is the role played by money. Instead of looking at parenting techniques in terms of race or culture, sociologist Annette Leroux examined them in terms of socio-economic class. She discovered that parents from affluent homes were more involved in their children's education and development than those from poorer families. The majority of the time, they tried to fill their child's leisure time with educational activities. Concentrated cultivation is the term used to describe this strategy. When children participate in collaborative activities, extramural sports, or cultural events, they learn to adapt to a variety of settings and experiences. According to Leroux, working-class parents tended to be less involved in their children's upbringing. The parents have the same sense of responsibility and concern for their children, but they let them to develop in their own time. Parents in this group were less involved in their children's playtime. Aside from that, they preferred to command rather than explain, and they didn't want their children to express their thoughts in front of other adults. They had children who were more submissive in the presence of authoritative figures as a result of their parenting. According to the findings of this study, wealthy parents are more likely than lower-class parents to implant in their children a sense of entitlement as well as a practical intelligence. Thus, children from more affluent homes have stronger self-esteem and are more assertive than their peers. This gives them an advantage in becoming outliers. At the end of the day, cultural legacies can play an important role in determining success or failure. In the book, there is a fun fact that says, a 4-year-old Chinese child can normally count to 40, but a 4-year-old English child can usually only count to 15. It's true that Asians are naturally gifted in mathematics, as evidenced by scientific evidence. The top percentile of pupils from Asian countries does exceptionally well on international comparison tests. The causes for this, on the other hand, go beyond genetics, and there are two sides to this debate. One perspective is that their numerical aptitude is influenced by the Asian cultural tradition of language and rice farming. The second point to mention is that their descendants are rice growers. Please bear with us as we go through this process. For starters, Chinese numbers are easier to pronounce than their English counterparts. For Chinese speakers, mental arithmetic is significantly simpler than it is for English speakers because of this difference in language. Examples include the use of the number 11 instead of the number 1, which would be in keeping with the pattern of other teen numerals such as 14, 15, and 16. The Chinese number 12, on the other hand, is written as 10-2. The Asian number system is more intuitive and easy to learn and grasp than the Western number system, which is more difficult to master. As a result, Asian youngsters acquire math skills more quickly than children who speak English. Research has indicated that pupils in Western countries are more likely than students in Eastern countries to give up on math problems when they are faced with them. As a result, this topic can be regarded via a socio-cultural lens in addition to the heritage of language. The work ethic of those whose ancestors labored in rice paddies is something that can be particularly beneficial when learning to persevere through difficult math problems. Compared to producing Western crops, rice farming is far more difficult. Approximately 3,000 hours are worked by rice growers per year. There are 60 hours per week in this job description. Farming rice requires a great deal of dedication. Children with a Southern Chinese origin have a distinct edge in arithmetic because they have a work ethic that is marked by intense concentration and discipline. And when it comes to mathematics, this kind of perseverance is essential to success. As a result, when it comes to the story of success, there are some more in-depth insights. Another important aspect of success is that it occurs when opportunities and our abilities are in sync with one another. Gladwell illustrates his point with the following metaphor: the tallest tree, the outlier, isn't always the outcome of the most hardy seed. A healthy soil, Abundant sunlight and water, and the lack of cutting down or choking by weeds contributed to the seed becoming the tallest tree in the world. The seed's environment provided it with the numerous opportunities it needed to develop into a tall tree. People should be given the time and opportunity to learn in systems that are designed for this purpose. It's critical to design systems that work for people of varied IQs and cultural backgrounds to collaborate effectively. Knowledge is Power program, or KIPP Academy, in the South Bronx is an example of this type of initiative. In this low-income neighborhood, there is a middle school for pupils. Students from poor backgrounds dominate the class because there are no examinations or admittance requirements. Yet, by the time they graduate from 8th grade, KIPP has managed to raise the arithmetic performance of 84% of its students to or beyond their grade level. Then, what is their method of accomplishing this goal? Students are provided with conducive learning environments as well as the chance to remain in school for longer lengths of time, both during the course of a day and during the course of a school year, among other benefits. Several years of research by Carl Alexander of Johns Hopkins University has established the negative impact of summer vacation on kids from poor communities. Ironically, students from lower socioeconomic groups make more gains in academic performance than pupils from higher socioeconomic groups. Students from lower-income households who stay in school over the summer break are less likely to fall behind their wealthier friends, allowing them to continue to study. It is also a comfortable environment where kids are encouraged to ask questions and work through challenges at their own pace, which results in more meaningful learning. At the end of the day, we may believe that outliers have a secret intrinsic aptitude to get to the top of their fields, but this is not necessarily the case. But as we can see, there are a variety of additional characteristics that can influence success, including birth dates, families, and culture. If we acknowledge this, we can begin to work on attempting to level the playing field and provide more opportunity for people to achieve their goals and dreams. We are so enmeshed in the mythologies of the finest and brightest, as well as of the self-made, that we believe outliers emerge organically from the soil, writes Gladwell. Our world allows a 13-year-old Bill Gates to become a phenomenally successful entrepreneur, and we are amazed that this is possible. The lesson here, however, is incorrect. The only time-sharing terminal available in 1968 was to a 13-year-old who had unrestricted access to the facility. If a million teens had been given the same opportunity, how many more Microsofts would we have today? Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Please don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in next audiobook.